Hello, this is Bruce Burns. Today is the 28th day of November 2025. Just so we're all on the same planet. It was a happy Thanksgiving. Anyway, this is the first video installment of a series of acting seminar type things that I've been doing. I've just since I started it on just a whim, I have just been doing audio tape for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because I didn't want to look stupid, but I decided I don't care if I look stupid. So here you go. So here's the deal. This lesson is about conversation and dialogue. Now, to me, a script or story of whatever kind can be broken down into three parts from an actor's viewpoint. This is action, what you do, monologue, what you say to yourself, or what you say to your imaginary audience or whatever, and dialogue, what you say to another person. So we're going to talk about the kind of dialogue where the person talks back. So, and we're going to talk about it in terms of reality instead of acting silliness. We are supposed to portray reality pretty much 3/4 of the time, I guess, in show business. There's plenty of times where you're just doing a cartoon. That's cool. But anyway, I digress. Conversation and dialogue. All right. Now, this is my idea. A conversation is a negotiation, an ongoing negotiation, a moving target. If you treat it as anything else, it's not going to come off authentic, I think. Or it'll seem off or something like that. When you have a conversation in the real world, regardless of who you're talking to, you cannot know what their answer is going to be. Too many actors, myself included, when I'm having a bad day, decide how they're going to react. Well, that's cool. I guess you have to do that to a certain extent because you have to know where to point the camera and what you're going to do and how it's going to work and how it's going to flow and the arc and all that gobbledygook. But too many people I see are locked into this. Say, for instance, you had somebody deliver a line, and the line was, "I love you." All right. So you can say that about a billion different ways, and they all have very distinct meanings, and they're all powerful. Well, all right, say we're doing the scene, and what you've expected, and perhaps what we've done before, and perhaps what everyone thinks is supposed to happen, is changed. What if the other actor, instead of being the gentle "I love you" you had conceived, it puts a bite on it or something? You know, what if they just instead of going, "Oh, I love you," I love you. Okay, now the whole dynamic of the conversation has changed. Not just that moment, not just the moment afterwards, the perception of the moments before as well. So, That's why I call it a negotiation. Because not only are you communicating intellectually, you're communicating non-verbally, you're communicating with body language, etc., micro expressions, all that stuff. I never figured out what a micro expression was. But anyway, and you can plan some of that stuff out, and it's cool, whatever. It's helpful, but if you're going to have a real conversation, you have to. I mean, everybody says, "Listen, listen, 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 listen." You have to listen. Well, you have to fucking listen. And if there's a nuance difference, if there's a scintilla of something that you sense from your scene partner, well, you are incumbent to react to it. Otherwise, you're not being authentic. You see, we all do it, and one of the things is that I I don't really build a character in a traditional sense because that too is a moving target. The person that you're with, the person that you are when you're with your mother, is a very different person than when you're with your lover, I hope. But so, how many characters are you going to build? You're going to build the one for your mother? You're going to build the one for your lover? You're going to build the one for your boss, for your coworkers, for your children? Why not just build a dynamic scheme for reaction? So, in other words, not who am I? Who am I? What makes me go? What makes me tick? No. Say, how do I react to anger towards me? How do I react for anger from a young woman or a child? It's different. So if you encountered those situations in a script, you can map out what you're going to do. So in that way, you give yourself a basis. Now, I just finished telling you that it was a moving target and that you should not make up your mind. Maybe I contradicted myself. Hard to say. I don't have that good a memory because, it's doobie time. So, anyway, so the moving target, you do need to put yourself in a basis. You have the basis of the script. And what I was saying before is do not marry it. Do not fall in love with a reaction. Do not wrap your arms around something and not let go. Unless you should. There's another maxim I have. And that's there are no rules. Okay, so anytime I tell you something like that, like you shouldn't do this or you should do that or you should do that, keep in mind, you can add the phrase unless you should, or unless it's appropriate, or unless it makes sense. Because, I mean, the casting floors are littered with the bodies of people who uh, So there we go. That was certainly a case study in an old stoner forgetting what the hell they were talking about. But got this. So that's cool. Not really supposed to do that, am I? No, it's an acting class. Very unprofessional. For God's sake. What are you thinking, Bruce Burns? What are you, nuts? Yeah, I'm nuts. So, what I was saying about bodies being littered on the floor of casting offices, a little bit dramatic, don't you think? But those are the people who thought there were rules. Those are the people who followed the rules. Those are the people who took no chances. They fail. If someone tells you, and remember I said I didn't, you have to add the caveat to when I say stuff like that. So please give me a little leeway. If someone said this is the way it is, and absolutely you must build the character by writing a novel about their childhood. Okay, that gets you off, right? But no, man, there aren't any rules. Every time somebody turns it down, then you have somebody like I don't know, James Dean come along, and maybe he did that stuff. He did it a different way, and then all these guys came along, and people come along all the time and just do it a different way, and we go, oh my God, that's cool. There's only one rule. I guess there is one rule. Make it interesting, for crying out loud. If it's interesting, give them an actor with lots of flash in it, and the reaction will be passionate. So, eh, if it's boring, nobody cares, and they won't care about your screenplay or something. But if it's interesting, even if it's wrong, even if it's so wrong, it's ridiculously a parody of things that could actually be wrong, then if it's interesting, who gives a shit? Anyway, so back to the conversation thing. We turn into different people with other people. So if you map those nuances instead of the nuance of what somebody might feel like when they're 70 years old if they lost their beloved cat when they were 7 years old. To most of us, our cat we lost when we were 7 doesn't matter too much anymore. I mean, we love Whiskers, but she had to go. But and I see people get into the minutia of what's going on in my brain, what's going on in my brain. Well, I mean, if you plan that too much, you will not be correct when it comes time to do the deed. You need to keep agile in dialogue. So that's my lesson. I don't know. Was that a lesson? Jesus. I shouldn't smoke this shit and try to do this, but it's fun. So Bruce Burns, look we have at bruceburns.net. And thank you for your attention. I hope all this made sense.